Hello and welcome to Acoustic Review. My name is Ben Morgan Brown and today I'm looking at two guitars from Yamaha, the FSTA and the FGTA. Both of these guitars incorporate Yamaha's Transacoustic preamp system, a system that was first introduced on Yamaha's higher L series guitars and has now made its way into the F series. Both of these guitars feature solid Sitka spruce tops and laminated mahogany back and sides, a NATO neck with a rosewood fingerboard and a nut width of 42mm. The FG has a scale length of 650mm and the FS is slightly shorter at 634. The Transacoustic pickup system, which is featured on both guitars, allows the player to experience reverb and chorus acoustically in the room and also through the pickup as well. That's quite a novel idea, so I'm quite keen to hear what these guitars sound like. So let's have a listen to them now and then come back to me afterwards to get my thoughts. My first impressions on both guitars is that they're both pretty standard looking, to be honest. No fuss, no surprises with the design really. Although when I did pick them up, I did notice that they were slightly heavier than some other guitars. I suppose that's probably because the Transacoustic system itself, which sits on the back of the guitar, is a little bit larger than some other preamps, so that probably does add a little bit of weight to the guitar there. In terms of the build quality and the fit and finish, I think they're both good examples of a mass-produced guitar, with a very clean build that we've come to expect from Yamaha. The full gloss finish on the bodies is well done, and also the satin finish on the back of the necks is a nice touch that does add to the playability in my opinion. Both guitars have a classic look to them, the combination of natural finish or a sunburst finish with ivory style binding is quite a tried and tested look. So like I said earlier, no surprises really with these guitars. Acoustically, neither of the guitars are particularly resonant. The FS guitar has a slight mid-range honk to it, which I think worked well with fingerstyle playing, but with hard strumming caused a slight nasalness to the tone, whereas the FG was a bit softer and a bit more open, a bit more dynamic. So that took the strumming better and also was a tad more resonant with the fingerpicking too. I mentioned earlier that there wasn't many surprises with these guitars, but obviously the one big surprise when playing both these guitars is that you can press a button and suddenly you have room and hall reverb. Adding a little bit of reverb to the sound actually did make the guitars sound a lot more lively, a little bit fuller and richer than they are acoustically. And obviously once you start cranking the reverb up quite high, you get a real spacey, almost sort of surf rock sound from the guitars, which was quite cool if you wanted to play some, rock and roll or Dwayne Eddy, something like that. I thought that was quite a fun little touch actually, just really cranking that reverb and enjoying the sound coming from the guitar and not from the room. The built-in chorus effect though, I found a little bit wishy-washy at lower levels, and then as you cranked it up, I think it was a bit too detuned, so it almost had a little bit of a seasick sort of vibrato sound to it, which I suppose, might work for some stuff, but it's probably not a sound that I would use very often myself. Regarding the playability of the guitars, both guitars have a quite full D-shaped neck, which I found very comfortable to play, slightly higher action than I prefer, and I think if that came down a bit, you'd really be able to enjoy the benefits of that full D neck. The nut width at 43mm is slightly narrower than some other guitars, but when combined with the full neck, I think it still gives you plenty of space for your fingers, and I didn't have to worry about buzzing on adjacent strings as I was playing. The plugged-in sound of the guitars was a typical mid-range piezo sound, not the worst undersaddle pickup I've heard, but not the best either, although adding in a little bit of reverb on the preamp did lively up the sound quite a bit, so that's a nice option to have. I think the sort of player who's going to be interested in these guitars would be somebody who's after a serviceable, reliable, gig-ready guitar, or maybe someone who's looking for something that's a little bit different to inspire them with some new music by using new sounds with the reverb and chorus built in. But time will tell just how long the novelty aspect of the reverb and chorus will keep that inspiration flowing. At £676 RRP in the UK, these guitars are facing some stiff competition in the market from other guitars that will have solid wood back and sides and other features. I think there's obviously quite a large upcharge on the guitars for the Transacoustic preamp, and I think you'll just have to weigh up when you're looking at these models as whether that upcharge is worth it for you to have the built-in effects. If I had to choose one thing to criticise about the guitars, it would be the high action. I really would like to see that come down on both examples. However, to praise the guitars, they're actually both very fun. I was a little bit sceptical about the built-in reverb and chorus. And although I wasn't a huge fan of the chorus, the reverb itself I actually really enjoyed playing. It did bring a big smile to my face when I first plugged in and heard this huge cavernous sound coming from a guitar straight from the sound hole, not from any effects that I had to plug in or anything like that. So I think if one word would stick with me with these guitars, it would be the word fun. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Acoustic Review, and we look forward to seeing you next time.